All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Back to the Future crossover Gigawatt figure. Yeah, this is a pretty nice figure. This is a Gigawatt who transforms, of course, into the DeLorean from Back to the Future, and yeah, he looks great in his car mode. I mean, this was, I think, obviously, honestly, the more important mode for them to get totally right, and I think it looks super fantastic. It's got a lot of really nice painted detail back here with all these little wires and stuff picked out. It might be kind of hard to tell on camera, but it has this like sort of like metally texture to it, at least like the main hood of the car, which like definitely gives us this nice like silver sheen where it looks a little bit more exciting than just like plain gray plastic, where like the doors here, they don't have that texture much, and it stands out a little bit when you're like really looking at these two sections side by side, but when you're looking at it from a distance, you wouldn't really notice that at all. But yeah, I mean, it basically like every little painted detail that I'd want this thing to have, it pretty much does have. Like all the taillights are picked out. It's got the nice out of time California license plate there. Like I said, all these little wires and stuff like that. It's got the headlights picked out. The separate silver for the front here. So yeah, it's got the hubcaps picked out. It looks really nice. I know there was some releases of this guy, like some of the earlier ones, I think had this section be clear rather than this tinted black, which I mean, just from images, I don't think looked nearly as good. I really like the black because it hides some of this stuff a little bit, whereas like, yeah, you can still see some like weird plastic bits in there, but it definitely helps it blend in a lot better. But yeah, no, it's a really nice car mode. He's got the functionality to do the classic Back to the Future wheel fold thing. The wheels here are on a couple hinges, so like this is the one that usually activates first, which is the right one, and you want to just click that in place without activating the secondary hinge, which is for transformation. So just get it like that, and then for these ones, there's just the one hinge, so it's a lot easier. But you can do this the nice flying car mode thing. And what's nice is, I mean, this is just a carryover from the Sideswipe mold that this is based off of, because this is yet another very very heavy reuse of the Siege slash Kingdom Sideswipe mold, just completely reshelled to obviously be a DeLorean instead of a Cybertronian Lamborghini or a regular Lamborghini, whatever. But yeah, no, one of the carryovers of that mold is that mold also had a little flight stand peg here, which if you have any stands like Tamashii stages or something like that, you can plug in here and have a little flying car display, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I think that works fairly well. It's a nice, placement of the stand. And yeah, he comes with a few accessories here. We'll put the wheels back up. He comes with the little Mr. Fusion bit here, which has really, it was like not going to show up on camera, but has really, really tiny lettering tampoed on there. And that can just plug in right in the back here where it's supposed to go. The connection is not great. And honestly, like whether it's supposed to be this way or this way, I find honestly differs every time I put it on there. Sometimes like I put it on here and it just won't stay on at all. Like right now, it seems like that's the case where it just like won't stay on. And in which case, like I can usually get it to stay on this way, but sometimes it's the other way around. So I don't really remember which way it's supposed to be, like for the movie or whatever, but usually I have an easier time of getting it to stay on this way. But yeah, I just wish that connection in general was a little bit tighter, like maybe the peg was a little bit thicker or a little bit longer, just to like really make that a bit more solid, especially since like it's such a small part. I feel like it'd be easy to just like bump it and like not even realize that it had fallen off until it's already lost. So yeah, I wish that was a little bit better, but it's not totally the end of the world. He also comes with a little pistol here that he can use in robot mode. And what's really nice is, hey, look at this. It has dedicated weapon storage that is out of the way, that is not just pegging it onto the top of the car. Fantastic. I wish that this guy had that, and any other use of this mold, or just really most modern figures in general, is like that has just been such not a priority recently to just have like out of the way weapon storage under the vehicle. And he's got like a dedicated spot here for the weapon to plug. And like, yeah, you can see it from the front bumper a little bit, but it really does not mess with the look a whole lot, especially when you're looking at it from an upward angle. And I really appreciate that. That is fantastic. And then the last accessory that he comes with is his little hook pole thing, from the first movie where they have to charge up the car by driving it and making it touch the power cable at just the right time. And that you can, it's kind of a rubbery soft plastic, which kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world. It makes it so it won't break and stuff like that. But you can take the peg right here, and there's a little hole right there that you can just peg that in. And yeah, I mean, sure, looks like it did in the movie pretty much. I personally, I'm going to put this accessory off to the side just because if I display this guy in car mode, which I probably will, because like really that's the main attraction here, is I probably won't display it with this. Like, it's a cool feature, like it's a cool extra thing to have, but really I'm a bigger fan of just the sort of like vanilla car mode by itself. But it's cool that they included it. It's just not my favorite accessory. But yeah, here we can show him off with here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe and Siege Sideswipe, so you can see the two different versions of this mold. And yeah, I feel like it works very well. I feel like scale wise, like I don't think he scales particularly well with them, just because, like, I mean, he pretty much looks like the same size car, but he's just a little bit bigger in every single dimension. So, like, it kind of looks a little bit bigger than, like, what a DeLorean should be in comparison to these cars. Like, it doesn't look so bad with him, but if they, like, bring in someone like Optimus Prime, as you can see a little bit more obviously, is like, yeah, that doesn't work. And, like, these guys, he was already a little bit too big to scale with Prime 2, unless he turns into like an exceptionally small truck. But it's a bit more noticeable, I think, with the DeLorean, just because, like I said, he's just a little bit bigger in every meaningful dimension. He's a little bit longer, a little bit wider, a little bit taller, so it just kind of pushes it out of scale a little bit more. Whatever, I'm just going to put him on a shelf by himself, so I don't care if it scales that well with other figures. But something that is worth considering is I don't think it scales particularly well with like most classic like Generations figures, whereas like this scale was already pushing it a little bit, but to make it even bigger than that is like, no, I don't think that works particularly well. But yeah, that's there he is with all those figures, and then just for fun, here he is with another DeLorean Transformer. There he is with Siege Swindler, the Micromaster, and cool. That's what they look like together. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about the car mode. I like that it has the weapon storage. I like all the painted detail and like the silver and the texture there. I like that it has the flying car wheel gimmick. The only thing really that bugs me is just that the Mr. Fusion thing doesn't peg on a little bit more securely. But other than that, it's really a fantastic little, deluxe scale DeLorean. And yeah, I mean, like, you can see that there's panelized and stuff like that, but like, really, even if you didn't want this guy to be a Transformer and you just wanted a nice little, like, DeLorean, like it works pretty fairly well as that as well. And then the last feature I guess to talk about is, and we'll get into starting off the transformation here, is you can open the doors. That's the first step of transformation. And obviously you can see that there's like nothing on the inside. It's still kind of cool that you can do the gull wing door thing, although I'm just going to take that and put that off to the side for now, and the gun as well, since we're going to start transformation here. The one thing is, like, obviously you can see the cut from where the door is like really meant to be versus the whole piece. Like, shouldn't take this little, bar with it, shouldn't take this triangle with it. I mean, like the look is generally still there for like having like that door open, but it does take a bit more of the car than it actually ought to with it when you do that. But it's still neat that they even incorporated that, like, that look into the transformation. But yeah, you just open up both the doors like that. Then we bring it on to the bottom side here. Again, it's a very similar, almost the exact same transformation to Sideswipe and Red Alert, those mold, with a few different things going on with the hood of the car up here, but mostly it's still the same. You rotate out these panels just like this. which then allows you to, just like the Sideswipe mold, bring it down at the knees here. And then for this one, you want to take these black pieces and push those in, and those will be the things that, you know, like compress that knee joint and push out the feet a little bit here. And you can bring the feet the rest of the way, put these panels back where they were before, unpeg the legs, rotate them around at the waist. We'll just adjust the camera here so you can see what's going on a little bit better. And then take the arms here. There's one extra step where it's really easy to forget too, is there's these little tiny panels right here that you want to rotate on this joint. So you just want to untab them from this section here and then rotate them around till there's like a tab that goes in between these little grooves right there. So you just want to click it into place like that. And remember to do that before, you know, opening up the arms like you would normally just easily do on the Sideswipe mold, because you don't want to risk breaking that part. But yeah, then from there, just like Sideswipe, you just want to bring the arms out to the side. There we go. And then since he doesn't have those extra panels to fold around, you can just unfold the arms now and fold out the hands. And then the rest of it is with the hood of the car here, which is the most different section. It's a little bit annoying because you kind of have to do these steps sort of like simultaneously, where like you want to unpeg the hood of the car, but not bring it all the way down. Just bring it far enough down that this black tab here clears the head sculpt. And then from there, you want to push your fingers on this side to kind of push this piece up because it kind of latches in right there. And you want it so the tab goes around the head, which you have to kind of have it at this angle to be able to do. Like if it's up like this, then it runs into the head. If it's any further down, it runs into the piece that the head is attached to. So it's like sort of at that angle you want to do that. But yeah, then once you flip that piece around just like that, then you can take the wheels here and flip them up how they were for, you know, the flying car mode, and then use that secondary hinge to flip them the rest of the way so they're pushed in like that. Sometimes this joint will want to fight you a little bit, but just have it like that. And then you want to spread the arms out a little bit to the side so you can bring the whole hood of the car down, and then this tab right here will go into the waist piece right there. And then lastly, which is not something you have to do on Sideswipe, but it is something you have to do on this guy, these pieces that the arms are attached to have a little slot, and there's a little tab on the internal section there. You just want to tab that in. And there you have Gigawatt in his robot mode. And yeah, he looks pretty cool. I mean, he's obviously, you know, the same use of the Sideswipe mold. He looks a little bit different proportionally just because the whole hood of the car comes here, whereas Sideswipe's hood is really like half of that section, and then he's got that extra midriff piece. So like, you know, when I first saw images of this guy, like that threw me a little bit, whereas like he definitely has like this big sort of weird boxy torso. But I feel like that's generally only a problem if you're directly comparing him to the other uses of the mold. But on his own, I feel like it looks fairly okay, and it definitely looks better in person than in images. But yeah, you could, I guess, if you wanted to, bring these wheels forward to have that look going on. I think that looks kind of cool. It sticks out a little bit awkwardly from the side, so I generally keep them to the side like that, but that is an option. He's got a nice little chest piece here that has some fun detail with the blue piece there, which is it's a flux capacitor, right? It's been ages since I've watched Back to the Future, but it's also got the notable dates there, which are really tiny little details, but picked out with the October 26, 1985, October 21st, 2015, and November 12th, 1955. So it's really cool to see those bits there. And he's got a nice head sculpt too. Not really based on a whole lot. Like I don't think it really looks particularly like, you know, Doc or Marty, but you know, it's a neat little head sculpt. I like the goggles there, make him a little time traveling dude. I think that's a cool aesthetic to have. And the other one big difference is he's got the gull wings in the back, where Sideswipe didn't have that, obviously. You can kind of fold them up like that. Really, whatever you think looks better. I think it looks fine either way. But yeah, no, that's pretty cool. In terms of articulation, head is still on a ball joint. Gets a pretty good range there, and rotation, obviously. The shoulders, same joints as Sideswipe pretty much. They rotate all the way around like that. I could rotate out to the side. It's got that bicep swivel. Again, 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, and the wrists can just tilt in a little bit. Because of the separate transformation joint, you can kind of get them to have like a bit of backward like butterfly elbow or shoulder movement, but it is unpegging it from that section. And I find that the piece that this is attached to is like kind of weirdly soft. Like it's not like super soft plastic, but definitely seems like a little bit more flexible than it feels like it ought to be. So it definitely feels a lot more stable when that's pegged in. But that is an option if you want to get some poses where he's kind of thrusting his shoulders back. He's got a waist cut, nice and simple. Universal joints at the hips there, which move pretty decently. He's got that thigh swivel. Knees, not great. I mean, they only bend about that much, which is like, I think the most limited that this mold has. Um, Whatever, you can't get him in crazy knee bent poses. I feel like that's an okay concession to have like all the nice detail and stuff back here, but that is kind of a limited joint. And then the same ankle tilt that the other versions of this mold have. So yeah, pretty classic kind of average articulation. Nothing too crazy, but nothing too terrible either. Really, the knees is just the most limited thing, but not too bad. Then he's you can of course use his gun here, which with this thing, you've got a few places that you can peg that onto the gun itself. You can peg it onto the back here. It's best to do it sideways because like it's got some clearance issues where it doesn't quite plug into his hand fully. Like you can see it's got a very slight angle there because this piece is kind of pushing it up. Wish they maybe made the peg a little bit longer for this gun. I don't know. That's a bit annoying. To alleviate that a little bit, you can also take this piece and peg it onto the top here. Just like with the car mode, like it generally works a bit better one way, but it does stay on there a bit more securely. And that helps a bit. These bits that it was attached to still get in the way a little bit, but I feel like that works all right. And it looks for kind of a neat gun there powered by the Mr. Fusion thing. In terms of storage, the only place I've really found is he does have peg holes on the inside of the gull wing doors there. So you can kind of take the gun and peg it in here. It kind of prevents it from closing quite as fully as it would have otherwise. But, if you're just having them all the way out to the side, then that hardly matters. And sometimes this piece can also get bumped off. So you want to be careful about that. But, I feel like that works fairly well. And then for his other accessory here, you can now, it's got a peg right here, so you can kind of peg it into his arm. The image on the box has it pegged into his shoulder. And that's all right. That works, I guess. I mean, it does fit into his hand. You can get it in his hand like that, but it's a really loose connection. Additionally, you've got that other peg, so you could just store it on his door, just like the other weapon. That works. I don't know. I guess for me is like I'm just not as thrilled about this accessory in particular, so I'm probably going to put this in a box and just like leave him with his regular gun. But that works fairly well. But yeah, he's got some nice details on him. I like that his shin pieces here have replicated the look of his chest piece there. I think that's pretty cool. Would have been nice, I guess, if they had picked that out, but I think it's more important that they saved all that paint budget for the car mode stuff anyway. So yeah, I feel like it works fairly well. Here he is again with the other two versions of this mold, just so you can see, how they stack up. And this is kind of what I'm saying with like Sideswipe's chest looking a little bit more proportionally smooth, I guess, because like the hood of his car is a lot shorter, so that he has this section here where he gets to have this sort of like midriff section, whereas his is pretty much just this huge barrel chest that goes straight to his waist. Like I said, he maybe looks a little bit awkward when compared directly with them, but like on his own, I feel like it looks pretty okay. Here he is again with Swindler, just so you can have your other Delorean Transformer with him. And then just because we have him here he is with Optimus Prime again, just so you can see how he stacks up in that regard. But yeah, it's a pretty solid figure. He still has these little slots on his shoulders from the Sideswipe mode. So if you wanted to, you could take like Sideswipe's weapon and plug it into his shoulder. Gosh, yeah, that's the one annoying thing, is that the little Mr. Fusion thing can fall off kind of easily when it's just pegged in back here, because it sort of bumps into his thigh a little bit. But whatever, not too terrible. But yeah, that's an option if you want to do that. He still has the port back here, so you can use the stand on him. Again, kind of a lot of modern Transformer Deluxes have that nowadays, even if they're not flying characters, but just for fun action poses and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm overall pretty pleased with him. He's a really nice figure. I think that the car mode looks absolutely fantastic, like near perfect, and the robot mode's a lot of fun too. It's a really nice mold. Like I think that this was a good choice to use that mold for this figure. Like Generally, I just kind of enjoy this mold a lot just because the transformation is so smooth and easy that it makes it a lot more playable. Like, it's definitely a figure I want to pick up off the shelf a lot. So it's nice to have a different iteration of that mold and have it be a Back to the Future reference. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about the guy. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have Transformers and Back to the Future crossover, Gigawatt.